For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1:7. Now, what I want to talk to you guys about today is fear. Nowadays, and I especially think this is relevant for a lot of people in their youth, but there's a lot of fear being spread around. There's a lot of fear being spread through the media of wars. The Bible does say that in the last days there will be wars and rumors of wars. We see that playing in real time, with the tensions between the U.S. and Iran and the Strait and all these different things. But what I want to focus on specifically is the fear surrounding our lives and what we have to do with it. What I do notice a lot, especially in the social media and influencer type of space, is that there is a lot of people, and I'm not going to name names, but, they know who they are. But there's a lot of people, I can give you guys an example of a title, right? Where they say, they'll say something like, how not to waste your 20s. Time is ticking. You need to do something now. You need to be successful now. The time is running out. All these titles, all these influencers trying to push you into this imaginary sense of urgency, like there's a clock ticking or an expiration date for, success in your life. But the problem, right? And, of course, it's social media, so people want views and stuff like that, is there's so many people who they get deluded by this imaginary sense of urgency. I know maybe the way I'm saying it doesn't sound like it's imaginary, because to a lot of people, they desperately want to be successful, right? And there are people out there who they see these videos and this dread, this fear, this anxiety comes over them, and they're in a rush to figure things out. I can give you guys an example from my own personal life, but right now I'm currently in a situation where I sort of have to figure out my life in a year. That's the sort of expiration date or clock that's been put on me, not by myself, but by family and the people around me, because basically, to break it down and sort of give you guys the gist of this situation, my family has been put into a position where, because their overhead expenses are too much and they can't really afford it, they have to downsize, right? And unfortunately, to downsize, less bedrooms, there's no space for me. So pretty much my parents told me, like, hey, you gotta figure out where you're gonna live in a year, right? For me. Now, here's the thing. And no, I'm not calling my family the enemy or whatever, but what I will say, guys, is this world and the enemy loves to push fear onto us. He loves to push a sense of urgency onto us. And unfortunately, I think we're in a day and age where fear is more prevalent than ever. Anxiety is more prevalent than ever, right? And the thing is, guys, the enemy uses this to push you, right? Not in a good way, because God pushes you in a good way, in a way that will stretch you and form you. There's a verse where it says, I have tested you and refined you in the fire, or something along those lines. So it's not that sort of pushing, right? It's the pushing and fear, like an urgency into making rush decisions, out of sort of a lack, sort of making making decisions from a sort of lack mindset and not really from a mindset of peace, right? Just like the verse I said in the beginning, God hasn't given us a spirit of fear, right? So what I'm trying to tell you guys is that you can't let social media, you can't let these people, you can't let anyone from that, you can't let anyone push you or force you into making urgent decisions, because those decisions, because they're coming from a place of fear and, oh, I need something quickly, they're usually not going to be the best decisions. Or at best, they're going to be very subpar decisions, and they're only going to be a temporary band-aid on the true problem, right? So, like I said, I know there's a lot of people out there who, you guys are listening to these influencers, you're listening to people around you saying, oh, you need to do something quickly, you need to figure out something quickly, time is ticking. That, you know, that really, that's how a lot of people sound nowadays, man. You know, it's just, it's crazy, it's ludicrous, you know, especially, you know, you have so many young people today, myself included. I'm 19, but there's so many young people today who, they're trying to figure out their whole life in the span of a year, in the span of a couple months, because some random influencer, some random person, or somebody close to them said, oh, you need to figure out things fast, you need to get it together fast, you need to get this done fast. What I'm telling you guys today is there is no need to rush anything. I don't care what situation you're in. I don't care how impossible it may seem, how you can't give in to that spirit of fear, guys. You can't make decisions from that spirit of fear, because you will never make the best decisions or the most optimal decisions from that spirit of fear. And like I said, the enemy will try to tempt you in so many ways to come from that spirit. I'll give you guys another example, right? With me, because I was afraid of because I was afraid of where I was going to live in a year, I would have anxiety on a daily basis, be scared. I literally picked up an overnight part-time job and they were both warehouse jobs. They were both killing me. I was getting no sleep. I was tired. I was exhausted. And what ended up happening is I got into a car accident, right? So because I came from a spirit of fear, not peace, like the peace that God gives us, I ended up making a horrible decision and putting myself in an even worse off situation than when I was before. So, listen, guys, I know we're living in crazy times right now. There's so many of you that I can't even imagine, you know, the fear that a lot of people are facing, especially with the economy, people getting laid off, and just a lot of people my age who, they really don't know what they want to do with their lives. They really don't. They're really afraid for their future, because where things are going, it looks dark. And I won't lie to you, yes, things do look very dark. However, right, we can't let the world and we can't let the people around us make us afraid. Because from fear, you will never make the best decisions. From fear, you're only just going to be trying to play catch up. You're only just going to be trying to survive. And we shouldn't be living this life to survive. We should be living this life to live. There's a verse, I'll tell you guys right now, there's a verse where it says, whoever gains For whoever desires to save his life will lose it. And whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. Amen. This is Matthew 16:25. So guys, stop trying to survive. That's just my message. Stop trying to survive. Stop listening to these voices of fear telling you that you need to urgently figure something out when you're literally 17 or 18, just getting into the corporate world, just trying to figure out what you want to do with your life. Stop letting these voices of fear influence your decision making and your mindset. But God bless you guys. Hope you have a great day. Amen.